Hi there, this is Michael Becker, and welcome to this lesson on Tinderbox. And with me today is Dave Rogers. He is a retired Navy commander. So first and foremost, thank you for your service, Dave. And in his retirement, he is an active and avid Tinderbox user and blogger. And so what Dave's going to do is show us how he's been using Tinderbox to construct and manage his blog. So Dave, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Happy to be here, Mike.
Okay, and so let's jump right in. If you can take us away, turn on your screen, and just for those watching, what we're going to do is Dave is going to show us his workflow process for managing and creating his blog, and then I'll interject and ask questions along the way. So Dave, take it away.
So you're showing Nice Marmot on your screen there. You're seeing it?
Yep.
Okay, good. So I had been on a number of blogging platforms when I started back in 1999. To make a long story short, I decided I wanted my own site on my own hosting service, flat file, HTML, nothing fancy, about as straightforward as you can get in terms of HTML. There is some CSS in here, but I needed a content management system. I didn't want to just do it in a text editor. I wanted something that gave me a little more flexibility in terms of organizing what I was writing, works that were in progress, and placing things around. And I started with Tinderbox probably in about 2002, used it actively for about 6 years, went off of it when Apple got rid of homepage.mac.com, went to Tumblr and did that for a while, and then decided to go back to Tinderbox. So back in 2013, I set up Nice Marmot. And it's a very plain, unadorned website. There are Google Analytics isn't on here. There are no trackers. There are no ads. I pay for my hosting. If you like the reader view, it comes up nicely in Safari in a reader view. It has an RSS feed. There's these little badges for follow me on Twitter and follow me on Flickr. Those are things I just copied and pasted out of Flickr. This little widget over here is I have an ambient net weather station in my backyard. Temperature is a little inaccurate, but that's code I copy and pasted out of their website. So I am not an HTML slinger by any stretch of the imagination, but I was able. Go ahead.
So let me pause you right there. So what I'm sorry, you were about to say you were able to what?
Just copy and paste a bunch of there's a lot of resources on the web for Tinderbox, and Mark Bernstein's very good about responding to email queries and things. So once I got this up and running in 2013, I pretty much haven't really looked at the guts of it very much until just now.
But just to deconstruct though, and we'll then start digging down from the top. So effectively what you've done is when a lot of people feel like they need to go blogging, they feel like they need to go get some more fancy blogging service, which essentially is a database and it's a service, and you register your posts within that service. And based on what you and I talked about prior to this call, is you had done that with a number of blogging services, and they invariably changed or got shut down, or you found through that process you were losing your content. Mm-hmm. And so really what you wanted to do is get your own domain, which you were was under your control, and you went and just got a web hosting service. And what you're effectively doing is using Tinderbox and dumping HTML files onto that web hosting service. And right. It's as simple as that. Yep. And those files then link back and forth to each other based on the native interactions that Tinderbox affords us. And that's what we're seeing here, is this ability just to have simple HTML files sitting on a web server that you have subscribed to with your domain, and that's your blog.
Right.
Okay, so great. Now let's take it to the next step. So how do we actually do this? Like, how does one construct the table formats? How does one post from Tinderbox into a blog?
Well, step into Tinderbox. Welcome to my nightmare. No, I've cleaned it up because I'm having company today. And so this doesn't always look this neat, but this is the basic structure. And this, again, was something that I just copied from somebody's blog post about how to use Tinderbox to create a blog. Mm-hmm. And so there are various elements here. This drafts section, these are things I've been working on that I haven't decided to publish yet or not. They're just notes, but they don't get published. They don't get exported. This mobile input is a to be determined project. I think I'm going to use Apple Notes, where I can type something on my phone and have it propagate to my Tinderbox when I'm away from my computer. Boilerplate
Yeah, and let
is
me interrupt you on that one, and maybe we can talk about it offline. One of the best note applications that I've found is Drafts.
Mhm.
And Drafts is absolutely fantastic. And there's an Apple script that you can use to automatically publish from your drafts to Tinderbox
Okay.
with one button. And then and Drafts has a great voice notation, voice narration, and note capabilities. So as you're out for a walk, you can be essentially verbalizing your blog posts, get back to your computer, and they automatically jump into Tinderbox.
Well, that's good because one of my posts early this month, I mentioned that when I'm out walking the dog, I'm writing my blog posts, and by the time I get home, I've got it out of my system, and then I never write it.
Yeah. So that Drafts utility would be a really great element for that.
Yep, neighbors can see me talking to myself. So these are the different parts. So in order to export to HTML, you need to incorporate all the code around it that you don't really want to mess with when you're writing a post. So you have these template notes that provide and I think this is CSS and some HTML. There's a different template for a post than there is for a page, than there is for RSS, the overall feed, versus RSS, the individual news item. So again, these are just copied and pasted with the appropriate URL changes that I edited in to make it work for my blog. This is a separate element. So if I ever wanted to change the name of the blog, I just change the text of that note. If I wanted to change the tagline, my blog for many years was Groundhog Day. Now it's Nice Marmot. And so I use a quote from The Big Lebowski. And
I just got a question answered for myself. So go back to your page, if you don't mind, your page template.
On the template or Safari?
No, T page.
Okay.
Right there. So you see where in the middle of your code, where you see it says C class banner or P class banner text and then banner plain. So what's happening there is essentially in your HTML template, you're saying, let me use the CSS class banner. And then you're using the caret text. So that's export code.
Correct.
And you're telling Tinderbox, go grab the text from page banner.
Right.
And then comma, format it plain, meaning don't put any HTML formatting around it. So I just get a clean, plain piece of text. Right. And that's what that instruction is telling Tinderbox to do. And again, maybe if people have questions down the line, we can, similarly, you're doing that with the tagline too. Right. And then what's happening is you're entering in that div class, which is essentially putting a structure in your page, and then it's processing all of the children related to the exported note. And I now see the structure, that sidebar you showed us on the left where you had blog roll and all of that. That's coming from your page you called sidebar, which probably somewhere in your file that I don't currently see. Maybe it's under your elements directory.
Elements, yep.
Yeah. And that content that's in sidebar is what's showing up on the page. So, for those that are watching, if you can go back to Nice Marmot real quick. Right. So let's just look at the structure of his page. So you've got the title and the tagline, and then you've got all of these, the individual notes down in the middle. And then on the right, you have that sidebar.
Yeah, this is main content in here.
And that's main content, right? So if you go back to the if you go back to the Tinderbox, just so people can see the nature of the HTML, the page, which is your main page there, you'll see the text banner, text tagline. That's how you're getting that name and the tagline on the page. And then that children is the main body where all of your, that main content section is where all of your blog posts are being pointed out. And then the div tags are putting the sidebar on the right. And the CSS is what's structuring the placement of those pages on the page. And so for those that are watching, that's kind of how the Tinderbox template is telling Tinderbox how to place and where to place the content from your files.
Now, one thing I didn't do, because I struggled with it a great deal, and ultimately I ended up just using a text editor. You can maintain your style sheet in Tinderbox as well, and export that as a plain text file to your web server. 8 years ago, I had some difficulty, and I just ended up doing it in a text editor and put it on the website, and it just manually modified it from time to time from then on. But
Mhm.
but you can also put the CSS style sheet in here as well if you want a more
Right.
comprehensive package.
So where you're seeing, for those that are seeing, say link where it says up right under title, where it says link href/style.css,
Mhm.
that's telling the Tinderbox files to go to your server and locally and pull the CSS file from there. As you've just pointed out, you could, using the same text functionality above, you could be inserting your CSS there too within the file, and that's how you do that.
Right.
So that's a good point. That's a good call out too, and we can explain that later in the dialogue if people have questions about that.
And the key thing is that you can do a complete blog website solution in Tinderbox, soup to nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, your point being earlier, just for those listening, you're not an HTML expert. You're not a CSS expert. You're not interested in being one.
Exactly.
Essentially, you had the Tinderbox community help you structure the pages the way you wanted them to be. You got them structured, and now you just leave it alone.
Right. It's not
Right.
pretty, but it does what I want it to
It
do.
does what you need to do, and that's perfect. Okay, so the first step of the workflow was get your essentially get your domain, buy your domain, get a web service. They're dime a dozen nowadays. You all, and then you worked with the team to structure your HTML for your pages. Now let's go to the workflow about how you actually create a post.
Okay, so this is the current, so this is under desktop input. This is where I create new posts, and the current month is June. So if I want to create a post today, this is one I just did to make sure everything still worked. You just hit return, creates a new note, enter a title, demo, and then go down here, enter some text. Now, if it was a long post that I wanted to proofread, I would probably go to preview and read it in preview. For some reason, when I'm reading a post, I don't like to advertise bad grammar or misspellings and things of that nature. When I read it in the text format that I enter it in, I miss a lot of mistakes. If I go to preview, I can, for some reason, the mistakes leap out at me. So
I'm exactly the same way, for sure.
So I'll go to preview just to proofread. And then if I sometimes have a glitch where something isn't working right, I can actually look at the export code and see where I may have inserted you can insert HTML in line to do certain things that you can't normally do or whatever. I do that very rarely because it almost always breaks something. But when I do, when I have to troubleshoot, I can look in the export section and see.
And that's a great way to learn HTML too, and such. So that's really smart. Now, what if you wanted to include an image in your post?
You're funny you should ask. I've done that in the past. Typically, what I do is I copy and paste some HTML code that I've created before. We'll go when we get to the FTP server. I'll show you. I copy and paste it in. I'm thinking about creating I just got Type It For Me again, a test expansion that
I use Text Expander, which is awesome. Yeah, same thing.
Okay. Yeah, just dump all that stuff in there, and then I have to enter in the file name of the image and the folder it's in, and so on. Okay. So, and I don't do a lot of images in my posts, partly because it counts against the storage on my web server. I got plenty. I don't know why I worry about it, but I've also got Flickr and SmugMug, and I can just link to that or embed copy sharing code for that.
So another point in my videos on YouTube, which you are now part of the family on, there are a couple of videos I have on called Working with Media, where I show how to embed HTML code and use the attributes to link to images and image names and all of that. And I could see that being something that you'd want to experiment with down the road. And we could talk about that again.
And I've done that in the past. I did it a great deal with Groundhog Day, but that's lost to history now. It's just as I've gotten older, I've gotten less enamored with
with the technology. Yeah, for sure.
So
I'm
pretty much just text these days.
That's beautiful. Okay, so great. So we started the workflow. And you've shown us that you write some text, you do some line breaks, you have some paragraphs, presumably.
Right.
Have some more text.
And
okay. And then once we've got an article ready to go, what do you do to publish it?
So, so I've done my proofreading and now I'm happy with it. I want to hit this is my little safety here. HTML don't export is checked. If I don't make a conscious choice to unclick that, it doesn't go anywhere.
Okay.
So now this, if I published it now, it would just go, you would only get the June archive page. In order to get the main page, this is an agent, and this will ultimately at some point, I've never timed it to see how long it takes to update. But what I always do is I just go up to update agents now, and boom, it grabbed that most recent note and added it to main page. So main page is the index page, the home page when you land on nicemarmot.net. So now everything's all ready to go. You go down to export as HTML. It takes, well,
and when you're doing this, you're exporting the entire blog now.
Yes. Yes, it will export the entire blog. You can set it up so that once old stuff, you don't have to export. It takes a little finagling, but it takes no time at all. So there, it's done. It's exported, and I've exported it to iCloud, and that way I can work on it on my laptop or on my
beautiful,
or on my desktop. So I use Forklift.
And let's stop right here. Forklift is what?
An FTP client.
Okay, and what is that?
So fast file transfer protocol, SFTP, actually, it's secure. And this is where how you move. It's like Finder for the internet. You know, it logs into my server. So I have a tab open on my iCloud documents folder and a tab open on Nice Marmot. So this is where the structure gets a little confusing, and to somebody other than me, because I'm familiar with it. So there's probably a way to structure this. I was starting to play with it this morning, but got overwhelmed. But to clean all this up, so you're looking at more at folders instead of just flat files all the way down. So anyway, you can usually sort by date modified, and it's 2:30. So we should be able, yep, here we are. Here are the three most recent files. These are the ones I always use: the RSS feed, the current month's archive, and the main page. So I just select those three, drag them over here to the top level, Nice Marmot, let go, and it will be propagated into Nice Marmot. So I'm replacing all these old existing files.
All right. So on the right, what we're seeing is your iCloud drive on your hard drive. Right. And on the left is the Nice Marmot web server.
Correct.
And all of its files.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So now it's there. Now we can go back to Safari and we can reload the page, and there's the demo. And this blue thing is what's called a permalink. So if you click on that, this is what takes you to the full month of June, the archive page. So if you're going to share an item on Twitter, this is the link you use. You don't want to share from the main page. You always share from, or I do, from the permalink. So that's the way you can always find that particular post. It's a unique identifier with the date and the time, and
nice,
so on.
And how is the permalink created?
That's action code in Tinderbox, and yeah, I could show it to you. I don't understand how it works. I think that's in prototypes. Let's see, T-post. Yeah, permafile. So permafile you have to enter, and I can show you that when we'll create July.
Okay.
Note, publication date, that is an attribute from the note. So it gets the value of publication date and surrounds it with a anchor, HTML anchor. So the note ID is automatically assigned by Tinderbox. Every time you create a note, it adds 1 to the increments the note count by 1, regardless of what the note is.
Yeah.
So that's all done by Tinderbox. I don't have to worry about that. Once you copy and paste this code, you don't have to do anything else.
Yeah. So what I'm essentially seeing is, and where is the file? Do you have? Presumably it's in your elements. Do you have a file name somewhere called permafile?
So permafile is an attribute, and you assign that when you So let's go look at June, and I'll show you in command 1. So here's where the file name is. This is the permafile file name. So it's when it exports, it comes out as June 2021, yada, yada, yada.
And no, it's an attribute. Okay, so that's the file name. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yes. So let's see here. June, I can, let's see here, view.
So actually, if you don't do me a yeah, just type permafile, right?
There it is.
There you go. So you have an attribute by the name of permafile,
Mm-hmm.
and that's getting pulled in. Got it.
Right. All right.
So would you mind clicking on the demo one we just did, just out of curiosity?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so you see where it says June 2021. That's the permafile name. So that attribute's being pulled into the template, and then that other export code is stitching together essentially that whole permalink.
Yep, permafile plus publication date equals and I think node ID creates permalink. Yeah,
equals permalink. Perfect. Okay, makes
those 3 attributes. Yep,
makes perfect sense.
So if you're going to create when I start working on July, just put your cursor on June, enter July 2021, return. Now this doesn't sort in inverse chronological order as they do here, because all the children here, when they get added, they're sorted in reverse chronological order in the setup. And we'll show you that here again in command 1. So I'll go down to June, and I'll go over here to my action. So whenever you add a note to this container, this is the action that takes place. So I copy this, I go up to July, I paste it. Now this is where perhaps whoops, that didn't work right. My clipboard is fouled. So here, so command C, right? Let's go back up here. See what happens in command V. That's very odd. Weirdness.
You're having some computer copy.
I've never seen this before.
So why don't you highlight that again and maybe right mouse click real quick. Highlight it.
Yep.
Right mouse click. Copy.
Yep. Jump up here. Right click. Paste.
No. Yeah, there
it is. Yeah. So now I just have to edit June to July. Fortunately, it's a short month. And then sort. So this is where you sort by publication date. That's an attribute we saw that goes into the permafile.
Yeah.
And tell it to do it in reverse order. And this is your export code. So we're not going to export the children. We're exporting the whole page. We have to give it a file name. This is what's going to appear on the website as. And I don't know why I use the underscore all the time, but that's it. And then you have to assign it a template. And the template is tpage.
Yep.
And then I have to enter the file name again. Is that a lowercase July? I should have my glasses on. All right, return.
Okay.
So now I can create new posts for July and export them. That's really the only things I have to mess with on the inspector. This is where you set up the permanent values and everything. So that's to create a new month. We're not in July yet, so I won't create another post. But I wanted to show a couple other things. So RSS is a very cool service. So here is an RSS reader, and I don't know if I can tell it for. I've just installed. A guy named Rob Farney wrote it, and it's available on the Mac App Store. It's a very simple feed reader. How do I update it? Import, close, settings. It will automatically pull in the RSS feed. Bring all the front. I've never You're not
yet using to figure out refresh. Yeah,
I didn't practice it, so
no worries.
Yeah, it'll eventually update this, and that demo post and everything will appear in here.
Nice.
So, well, that's it. That's plain text, HTML. Not a lot of fancy stuff on elements. Let's see here, sites. So this is code that I've copied and pasted from. This is from SmugMug.
Mhm.
And this is from, this is just a link to my galleries at SmugMug. And then this is code that I copied and pasted from Flickr. And so you go over here to the sites page. And so this loads an old site. I probably need to change this because it's the same slideshow every time. But I thought that was kind of cool. That was back when I was interested. When did I do that? Back in 2018. And then this is my Flickr photo stream. This isn't a slideshow. You have to click on this. But then when you click on it, it takes you to my Flickr site, and you can go back to the photo stream and do whatever you want over there if you want to do anything. So that's the integration of Flickr and SmugMug for photography in Tinderbox.
So this is really exciting. So what you've basically shown us is a very, very simple way to use Tinderbox to be able to, as essentially a fairly robust content management system to manage the administration and publishing of a blog. And the core elements, to summarize that you shared us at what we need is we need Tinderbox. And within Tinderbox, we need some Tinderbox templates. And there's the wealth of the community to help people like yourself to set those up, including you now. As part of the community. There, you need an FTP client to be able to go, connect into your web server, and you need a web account somewhere. Like,
now, let me stop you there for a second, because, and again, this is one of the things where I have not spent the time to look into it, but Webdav. Many services offer Webdav. What that stands for, I don't recall, but it basically makes your server appear as a folder on your hard drive, that you don't have to go through an FTP client. You can just use the Finder and tell the Finder that this is a Webdav server, and it'll show up as a folder. You can export directly from Tinderbox to that Webdav folder, never have to deal with FTP. That's how homepage.mac.com worked.
Got it.
Now, I don't know I haven't delved into how to figure out how to tell Finder that my hosting service has Webdav capability. It probably does. But FTP works. So that's what I know. That's what I do.
Yeah. So I will take it upon myself to, find some backup resources on that, because I'm interested in that myself. But this is super exciting. Now, if we can go back to your Tinderbox file there, and I'm wondering, the one step where I think, if you don't mind, can I offer a suggestion?
Sure.
Okay. So the one step that you had, I noticed, was when you were creating your June or July step, you had to go to that next step. And if you don't mind, we're not going to break anything, but maybe we can experiment a little bit and help automate that process for you. I think that could be kind of interesting to try and do. So if you can do me a favor, go ahead and hit Command 1, and go over to the action code. Okay, and copy that. Right mouse click on that and copy that.
Nope, trackpad's fussing with me.
Okay. Now go up to your prototypes.
Yep.
Okay, click on that one. Hit enter.
Right.
No, not there. I want you to create a new note. Hit enter,
okay.
Create a new note.
Okay.
Call it P_month. Maybe capital M, just to be consistent.
A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. Capital M. Yeah.
Okay, I've got to deconstruct that later once I understand what that actually means. If you click on number 4 real quick.
Number
in the inspector, I don't know what you call it.
Oh,
no, the number 4.
Oh, I see up here. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Click prototype to make this note a prototype. Now go back to your action code.
And that is
under the Death Star.
Death
okay.
Star.
And then go in there and hit paste. Okay. Now I think we're good to go. The only question I need to ask myself now is where do we put? Okay, let me go. Okay, now do a semicolon here real quick. By the way, you technically should have a semicolon right here
at the end.
Yeah. Now hit enter. Okay. Now what we're going to do is go to your prototype real quick. No, your P
Month?
month. Yeah. Okay. On the far right, you can move the inspector out of the way.
Okay.
Okay. You see
Trying.
the little. You see the little on the top right. The little. Yeah. Click that. And why don't we call this one month name?
Is it capital or does it care?
It's up to you.
Oh, we're creating it.
Yeah, I typically do capital M and then the next name use camel case, what's called camel case.
Okay.
So, and then name, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then hit enter.
That's a user attribute now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, click away. Okay, now I'll go ahead and hit create.
Would you like to create? I got to admit the window.
No, just click the create button.
I'm looking for it. Where? Oh, create. There it is. Yeah.
Okay. And now we want to make this one. Yeah, make that a string. That's fine. Now go ahead and click away.
Okay.
Okay. Now under month, go ahead and type in the word July 2021. In the month name attribute. Or no, leave it like that for now. That's fine. Because it's
I see up here.
Yeah, no, leave it for now. Leave it there for now. Go back to the document inspector.
Yep.
Okay, and right there in the action code where it says no, stay there where it says July 2021.
Right.
Okay, go ahead and delete that and delete the parentheses too. Delete all of that.
Okay, permafile. Okay.
Okay, and delete the parentheses and the quote too. And type equals $, month name.
It auto completes.
Okay, like that.
Okay.
Okay, hit enter. Okay, now go over to your desktop input and create one called July or August.
Well, okay.
And call it August 2021, August 21. Okay. Now you see next to the little down arrow, hit enter. Go ahead and hit enter.
Okay.
Now you see next to the okay. Oh, now next to the little down, next to that one, the icon right next to that one, the little to the left. I'm sorry.
That guy.
Right mouse click on that.
Okay.
Click the P month prototype.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And now if you go ahead and type in P month, the July underscore or August underscore 2021 in the attribute.
Whoa. You've lost me.
Up in the attribute where it says month name.
Okay.
Up in there, type in August 2021. Just double click in there.
Okay. Whoops.
Or underscore 2021, because that's the way you like it.
Yep.
Okay. So that attribute is now actually going to automatically feed to that. So effectively what you've now done is created a prototype that will allow you to automatically create your months. Now there's a couple other things that we didn't do. If you
just a minute though, but am I going to have to do this, update this prototype every month anyway?
No, because it's now going to be automated. If you go back to P month now, we need to fix one other thing that we haven't done yet. Go to your export code tab on the inspector and uncheck export children.
Yep.
Okay. And I believe in the file name.
No template.
Yeah. Select the template, what template you want to do.
So this is going to be the full page.
That's the full page because that's the month like you've always done.
Right.
And then I got to double check if we can pass the attribute value into the file name there. That's the one piece I need to validate.
And that's what the caret, the month.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can do it there in the inspector. I'll double check on my end on that one. So if you close out now, so now the only thing you need to manually change right now, it would be, given your current workflow, is in the inspector window, adding your August underscore 2021 right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So I wouldn't have to copy and paste it.
You're not going to have to copy and paste that anymore.
The action code will be there automatically.
Correct.
Yeah. So I would use that prototype for every subsequent
month.
Right?
Yeah. So whenever you want to create new months, now if you want to add a September, you just add September, apply the prototype, and you're good to go.
Okay. Let's see here. So this is September. Yeah. This is a divider, but it is a container. It is a note. can I have this automatic? So, and these are, so this is at the same level. So if
Yeah,
I
so,
put, if
so
I
do
tab,
this.
well, yeah.
Yeah, so do this. Click on your desktop input right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whoops, missed it.
Go
Okay.
over and on the display attributes button on the right,
Yeah.
click on that. Click, type in on ad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Click away. Click in the, no, I don't know what you did with the publication. There you go. That's fine.
I clicked
No,
away.
no, you're good. You're good. Go ahead and in your on ad in the on ad attribute, click over there. Type in $ prototype, capital P.
Well, this is tiny text.
Equals quote P _ month, lowercase p.
Oh, capital month.
Okay, and semicolon because you're ending an expression. Hit enter. Okay, now next time you go and click on July and hit.
So I have to tab over though, right? I have to get.
So if you made it a container, yeah, you want to tab over if you want to make those into a container.
Right.
Right.
So that, and I can go back and fix all these guys.
Yeah, you can fix that later, right? So now what you can do is if you select this desktop input.
Yep.
Hit enter.
But that creates something at the same level.
It creates, oh, you're right. No, so hit, excuse me, shift option enter.
Okay, so escape and then shift option
enter.
Enter. There we go. And that'll be October 2021.
Okay. And here's the, yeah, there you go. And then,
so but this one I'll have to enter the month. This is the only thing I have to do is enter the month name.
Not necessarily. What you could do is you could create some action code that would actually do it for you automatically.
Automate that. Yeah.
Right. And we can do that now or later if you want, but that gives you.
I think he's got action code for dates and everything. So.
Right. So we could do some action code that will automatically populate that month name for you and you're good to go.
And that would be likely only if I was working in the current month. That I wouldn't want to create October and use the action code because it'll pick June. The Tinderbox knows what the date is. So if I said,
Right. No, but in this case, what we do is we have it basically populate that value with the name that you put on the note.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It would take whatever name you gave it.
Smart. Yep. Okay. I don't know what that action code is.
Yeah. Well, we can do it now if you like. I mean, that's easy enough. But that gives you an idea of how to kind of simplify your manual processes down the road.
Well, when stamps came out, it sounded like stamps was something I could use, and I just I'd start to delve into it and then get distracted. I have the attention span of a rabbit. It's just oh, shiny.
Yeah, and again, we're not familiar with this stuff, and unless we use it all the time, we forget. So it's
and you get it working, and then you have the experience that if you do something that pushes the envelope a little bit, you make a lot of work for yourself to move back to, basically, if I was smart, I would create a backup and then just work on the mod, and if it doesn't work, just revert to the backup version control. But this is
I never had the patience for that either. I get really excited and try something new, and then I'm like, wait a minute, if I'd actually backed up first before I did that thing, I would not have just created 10 hours of work for myself.
it's just an not even a hobby. It's just something I enjoy doing from time to time.
Absolutely. Well, I think this is a huge contribution to the Tinderbox community and what you've been able to demonstrate for us to show people that this is how you can publish a blog. And it really, it's not necessarily overly sexy, but it's a great, very crystal, very methodical and clean workflow. And I appreciate you sharing it with us.
Well, if we got a couple more minutes, I'll add one more comment.
Yeah, please.
Back in the early days when I was doing this, a lot of my posts I would begin each post with a category. Usually I wrote a lot about Battlestar Galactica. So that was prefaced BSG, whatever the title was.
Which one, the original one or the new one?
The new one. The new one
was awesome.
Yeah, I know. I loved it. I've seen it all 4 or 5 times. Yeah. But I'm wearing a t-shirt right now.
Nice.
And so my goal was, and then somebody made a comment about the archetypal, the iconic blog post was, "Today I ate a cheese sandwich." So mundane blog posts about my life were typically prefaced with cheese sandwich. Things that I had an ongoing sort of subject was the Clue Train Manifesto. I would categorize under BGO, blinding glimpses of the obvious. So the goal was, which I never achieved because again I get distracted, was to have a note that gathered all of those prefaces. So like all my Battlestar Galactica posts would be gathered in a page that all the posts, all the children that began with BSG. So if you wanted to read everything I ever wrote about Battlestar Galactica, it would all be on one page, all those notes. And same thing with Clue Train, same thing. So and 9 brings tags. So I'm going to explore tags and explore, because there are certain themes, certain topics I return to over and over and over again. And I think I want to gather those into one Tinderbox export page. And then maybe see if I can edit that into a more comprehensive, cohesive.
And again, maybe I can. How have you tagged those articles, those BSG?
Nothing
articles?
Recently. I have not been very disciplined in my practice when I got back into it. That early effort with BGO and BSG and cheese sandwich was back in the early days. And in fact, I think I did do that in one of those 2003 Tinderbox files I showed you. I think one is a BSG, gathered all the BSG posts into one big note.
Right. And so there's a couple of things we could do depending on how you did it. If you were methodical and actually had a keyword or tag on that, that'd be super simple because you could just run an agent, much like you have your main page agent running. Which, by the way, I don't think people really realized that your main page actually, you said, is an agent. It's pulling and querying those different
all the notes. So like this 2021 welcome message doesn't appear in the June 21 blog.
And if you don't mind, do me a favor. If you can go to your display attributes button on that page.
On this page.
Yeah. And click agent action or agent query. Type in agent query.
Agent query.
Okay. You'll see here, that's what's happening. Publication date equals today. So what
what makes it a blog. I mean,
I'm sorry?
That's what makes it kind of a blog, that you're only seeing on the main page those posts I created today. Now, if I don't do anything tomorrow, they'll stay there until I write another post.
Right.
But if I wrote every day on the blog, you'd only see that day's posts.
Right. Yeah. So whatever you update, right? So, but that's what that's how that's being pulled in. And so that's what designates it for as a query agent for you. And I think that's a really interesting strategy you have there too, which I like.
Well, RSS is an agent as well. So it was agent and what was it? Action query?
Agent query.
Agent query. And then I click out of that. So publication date is today for RSS items.
Yeah.
No, same thing.
Beautiful. All right. Well, this is super interesting. And again, going back to your point about the taggers, that is something in Tinderbox 9 that I think will be super useful. And essentially what you can do is we can set up a tagger that says, if this text and or this title in terms of the word Battlestar or Galactica, then basically populate the attribute keyword, for the lack of a better name, with the word BSG, Battlestar Galactica. Okay. Right. And that way, and so what Tinderbox will do is, over a period of time, I mean, it's a really hyper slow background application because he doesn't want to slow down your file. But over like maybe 20, 30 minutes or so, Tinderbox will go through, scan all your files, look at all your text, look at the name of your files, and any file that has the word battle or Galactica in it will populate it and tag it as BSG.
And then you create
and then you create an agent. Then you create an agent that says, go find me everything that's BSG, and you're done.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. And
that's something that's always excited me about using it as a content management system, because, from day to day, you're writing about a variety of different things, whatever happens to cross your mind. But over a course of years, you may have returned to the same subject hundreds of times. And it would be nice to be able to see all those thoughts and how they evolved over time.
Yeah.
In one narrative.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely beautiful. And again, I'm very grateful for you having taken the time and shared it with us, and much appreciated. Thank you very much.
And I've subscribed to your channel.
I
So
appreciate it. Okay.
I'm
Well,
getting
great.
my 15 seconds of YouTube fame.
There you go. Well, great. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Bye bye.